Good morning. How's everybody doing? How's your day been, LaShawn?
It's been pretty good. How about yours?
It's been good. How about you, Bethany? How's your day been?
It's been good.
Good. So right now we're going to jump into our literacy lesson. So remember yesterday we talked about the main idea and what key details are. And so we're going to use the image of the chair that we drew yesterday to recall those things. So who can tell me what a main idea is? Bethany?
It's what the story or text is mainly about.
Right. It's the big idea. It's what the rest of the information is about. It's the top part of our chair, the main idea. So what is a key detail? LaShawn, do you know what a key detail is?
Is it something that's important in a sentence?
It is. It's specific information that supports the main idea. So these are our key details or characteristics, and they support the chair. They support the main idea. Okay, so we're going to look at a few short paragraphs and determine the main idea. Then we're going to find key details. And there's going to be a little twist because there's one detail that does not support the main idea. And we're going to find that one too. Okay. So if you get out your non-supporting detail worksheet, and I'm going to go through the first one just to show you what we're doing, and we can talk through them together. So for the first one, it says, women's gymnastics is a very popular sport to watch during the Olympics. The girls compete on 4 different events: uneven bars, balance beam, vault, and floor. Men's gymnastics has 6 different events. While the women's floor routine is to music, the uneven bars, balance beam, and vault are not to music. So after reading this passage, I noticed that all the sentences have to do with gymnastics. So let's keep gymnastics in mind. It might be our main idea. So I also notices that most of the sentences are about women's gymnastics. However, there's one sentence that mentions men's gymnastics. So maybe it doesn't fit, but let's read it again just to make sure. Women's gymnastics is a very popular sport to watch during the Olympics. The girls compete on 4 different events: uneven bars, balance beam, vault, and floor. Men's gymnastics has 6 different events. While the women's floor routine is to music, the uneven bars, balance beam, and vault are not to music. So this time when I read it, I noticed that sentences 1, 2, and 4 all say women or girls in them. However, sentence 3 is about men. So the main idea is more specific towards women's gymnastics. So let's all get out our pencils and write women's gymnastics next to the main idea on box 1. Now, if you don't know how to spell it, you can look at mine or you can find it in the text. Women's gymnastics. So just like that. Now let's look at the details. A key detail or characteristic about women's gymnastics, in the first sentence it says that it's watched during the Olympics. That's a key detail that supports women's gymnastics. Now the second sentence says that girls compete on 4 different events: uneven bars, balance beam, vault, and floor. That also supports women's gymnastics. Now the third sentence, men's gymnastics has 6 different events. That doesn't really support women's gymnastics. So we're actually going to cross that sentence out. And let's look at the last sentence. While the women's floor routine is to music, the uneven bars, balance beam, and vault are not. Now that supports women's gymnastics too. So if we look at our chair again, the main idea of this passage is women's gymnastics. And one key detail or characteristic is that it's watched at the Olympics. There's 4 different events, and that the floor routines are to music while the others are not. So that fits our main idea in key details chair. So now let's work through some of the other examples. LaShawn, can you please read the paragraph that starts many different shapes out loud for us?
Many different shapes are considered quadrilaterals.
Good job, quadrilaterals.
Quadrilateral is any shape that has 4 sides. A quadrangle is any shape that has 4 angles. Squares, rectangles, rhombi, and trapezoids are some examples of quadrilaterals. Pentagons, hexagons, and octagons are not considered quadrilaterals, okay, because they do not have 4 sides.
Great job, LaShawn. Let's give her a shooting star. It goes like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good job, LaShawn. Okay, so what do you think the main idea is for that paragraph? We notice that shapes are mentioned, but which shapes are mentioned a lot or are most important? Which do you think? And think about our math. It might connect with our math lessons too.
Quadrilaterals?
Good job, LaShawn. Quadrilaterals. So quadrilaterals are mentioned the most, and we remember from math that the characteristics of quadrilaterals, they have 4 sides. Some examples are squares and rectangles. So let's write quadrilaterals up by main idea at the top. Okay, can anybody look at that paragraph and find a sentence that does not make sense with the main idea of quadrilaterals? Look really closely. I'll give you a hint. The words are similar, but they're not the same.
Pentagons, hexagons, and octagons are not considered quadrilaterals because they do not have 4 sides.
That's close. LaShawn, can you help her out?
What about a quadrangle is any shape that has 4 angles?
Right. Good job. So that's a tricky one because quadrilaterals and quadrangles, they sound the same and they almost look the same too, but they're 2 different things. So the one that does not fit is a quadrangle is any shape that has 4 angles. So cross that one out. So if we look at our chair image again, the main idea is quadrilaterals. One of the supporting legs or key details is that it has 4 sides. Another is that squares, rectangles, rhombi, and trapezoids are some examples. And then it also gives ones that are not examples because they don't have 4 sides. So it fits our chair map. Good job. Okay, so now let's look at the next passage. Bethany, can you please read it out loud, the one that starts violins and violas?
Violins and violas are very similar. Both of them are string instruments that you might find in an orchestra. You also could find a cello in the orchestra. Violins and violas both have 4 strings that you play by using a bow or by plucking. Also, they are both played by being held between the shoulder and chin.
Good job. So we noticed that it talks about different kinds of instruments, but which ones are the main idea? Does anybody know?
Violins and violas?
Good job. Violins and violas. So can anybody see, or did anybody hear an instrument that was mentioned that's not a violin or viola?
A cello?
Good job, Bethany. The cello. So the cello is mentioned, but it's not a violin or viola. So let's think about our main idea chair. If our main idea is violins and violas, does cello support that main idea?
No.
No, it doesn't. So let's write our main idea first above, and we're going to write violins and violas. Remember, if you have a hard time spelling it, you can look at the passage. And so Bethany also just told us that the sentence about cellos does not support the main idea of violins and violas. So let's go find that sentence. It says, you also could find a cello in an orchestra. And let's cross that out. Does not support. So let's make sure it fits in our map. The main idea of the passage is violins and violas. A supporting detail or characteristic is that both of them are string instruments. Another one is that they have 4 strings that you play by using a bow or plucking the strings. And the third key detail or characteristic is that it's held between the shoulder and the chin. But cellos, they don't fit in this map. Good job. Okay, for the last example, I want you to go through it as a group and determine the main idea, the supporting details or characteristics, and cross out the one that does not fit. So remember, you can look up any words that you don't know, or you can ask somebody for help, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to discuss it, and then we'll talk about it.
John, you want to read it?
Sure. Miniature Dachshunds are wonderful to have as pets. They are very playful and loving. Since they do not shed very much, they do not leave hair everywhere and are easy to clean up after. Golden retrievers also make wonderful pets.
I think the main idea is about miniature dachshunds.
Miniature Dachshunds?
I
agree.
So should we write that down?
We should. The main idea is miniature dachshunds.
Which sentence do you think doesn't go together?
Well, since it's talking about dachshunds and they're very small, and they don't shed. The golden retrievers?
That's what I thought. The last sentence. I think we need to cross that one out.
So let's make sure we're right. So let's go back to our chair. And our main idea was miniature Dachshunds.
Mm-hmm.
What was one of our details that support our chair?
That they're wonderful pets to have.
And what about that they don't shed too much, and so you don't have a bunch of hair everywhere?
Yep. And they're very playful and loving. That's another detail.
All three.
Okay, friends, a couple more seconds and then we're going to come back. Okay, I heard some great things while I was walking around listening to you guys talk in your groups. So, let's read the passage together. Miniature Dachshunds are wonderful to have as pets. They are very playful and loving. Since they do not shed very much, they do not leave hair everywhere and are easy to clean up after. Golden Retrievers also make wonderful pets. So who can tell me what they determined was the main idea of the passage?
We said it was miniature Dachshunds.
Right. So the main idea is miniature Dachshunds. And why did you say that? What were your details that supported that?
One detail was that it said that they were wonderful to have as pets.
Mm-hmm. LaShawn, what's another detail that you found that supports that?
That they did not shed very much, so there was not hair everywhere.
Right. That would be nice so mom doesn't have to clean up after it, right? What was another supporting detail or characteristic?
They're very playful and loving.
They are. They're very playful and loving. So which sentence did not match?
The one about the golden retrievers.
Good. Are golden retrievers the same as Dachshunds?
Mm-mm.
They're not. They're actually really big.
But what are they both?
Pets and dogs.
They're both pets and they're both dogs. They're trying to trick you. You knew they were dogs, but it was different. So, did everybody write your main idea at the top and cross out your sentence?
Yes.
Good job. Okay, so we're going to pass our papers to the center and have them be picked up. And great job today, boys and girls. You did a wonderful job working on main idea and key details and being an investigator to find which one didn't fit, didn't support. So we're going to continue to talk about main idea and key details and characteristics as the week goes on. So before we leave, let's review the chair one more time. I know you guys are going to get tired of seeing it. It helps. So the top part is the main idea or the big idea, which is what all the information, the text, whatever you're reading is about. And the legs of the chair are the key details or characteristics. They're what supports the main idea. They're evidence and information that is specific to whatever the main idea is. So now let's line up for recess and head on out.